Collaboration Podcast.
Hey, this is Josh Pearson.
Performance specialist with the Complete Athlete.
This is Cole Warm.
Certified USAPL club coach and owner of Salutum Health and Performance. Each week, Cole and Josh will take you through training techniques and tips, talk to athletes and fitness professionals to educate and motivate you for your fitness goals. Plus, you'll follow the journeys of Team Salutum Powerlifting and get complete athletes. The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by Salutum Health and Performance. Take your full power potential to a new level. Online powerlifting coaching. Customized programming to fit your individual needs and goals. Access to a coach 24/7. Whether you need a quick form check or a full program, Salutum Health and Performance has one goal in mind, taking you to the next level. Got a meet coming up? Ask about on-site coaching. Join the team that's setting records across the powerlifting community. Team Salutum Powerlifting with Salutum Health and Performance. Online at salutumhp.com. salutumhp.com. And now, the Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
I think we got a couple people that want to be on. That's always good.
Yeah, Taluki, we need you, Nick. God damn it, I called him Luke because he said that in my.
By the way, I saw the story from Lucas this morning, or even last night. I can't remember if it was last night or this morning.
Dykma?
And he was like, basically, everything hurts and I'm dying, basically.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, hashtag post-meet, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family of pain.
Binks, we go to eat sushi afterwards. He's like, no, I feel great. And I'm like, give it time.
I talked to him this morning. He said he didn't really feel that bad. And I'm like, well, shit, man.
Well, you should have
for
seen him
you.
when he got up after eating sushi. He goes, oh, yeah, it's a
Little
little sore. I go, yeah, you just wait till you're calm for a little bit longer. He might have been lucky enough, though, that he went home to take like a power nap. So he might have laid flat and kind of done the relaxing enough.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's nothing worse than when you think you feel great because you're on a high coming off a meet, and then like try that drive home from Maplewood. I got out of the car and I thought my hips were literally just gonna burst into flames.
Yeah, hour and a half drive right after a meet.
Do I
is
get to
not
pick
good
the
for
hype
the
song
hips.
today?
Pick the hype song.
All right.
I can't wait to dive into this.
I can already tell you that Cole's gonna know exactly what my hype song is.
Yeah,
but...
it's gonna be something by
Moana.
Ramirez.
No,
and
it's
fucking
not.
Suicide Boys.
It is
All I
actually.
fucking heard yesterday from Luke was, no, Disney Channel's where it's at.
God.
That's what he was listening
God,
to.
that
I'm
hurts
like,
my
dude.
feelings.
No wonder
How?
you miss your last deadlift.
No, actually, the Rob Bailey song we listened to last
Yeah,
week, that's
yeah.
what he was listening to right before he deadlifted.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if you would have been listening to that the whole time and
Yeah.
not just during that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Was it the one I asked him? He was listening to like "You've Got a Friend in Me" on like some shit, Toy Story or some shit.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
he does that
Or it
because
was,
got a friend.
Hakuna Matata.
something like that. It keeps him calm. Like if he goes too nuts before
I'll throw on
besides
some.
before
I'll throw on some
deadlifts.
Kid Cudi to keep me calm.
There you go.
Get them
Kid Cudi,
vibes.
I guess?
Yeah, get some vibes, man.
dude, when the song starts with them praying,
Shit.
Your music sucks.
No, dude, I'm surprised. You need to listen to these guys. You would like them.
I am obsessed. Like, I will listen to it all the way into the gym. And if the gym's all to myself, I will listen to the entire album
Yeah.
while I lift.
Maybe this week I'll be listening to him.
Holy shit! Let's go! Josh is feeling it.
Right? How do you not just get totally into that, like, groove, you know?
They have
Where
such...
you're like, you feel it coming, you're like, yeah, that's right. We're going to fuck some shit up.
We've talked about this, but it's definitely their flow along with the beat that they're on. It sounds so fucking good.
Right.
Oh, I love it.
They got that chopping going.
Remember when you guys talked about just a minute ago how you're like, well, I like a song that I can kind of like, if I need to calm down, but I still need to be kind of hyped up. Yeah, they have one on here too. This is the full album, actually.
Put on that one that you sent me the other day. That was a good vibe song.
Right?
That was,
Here, I'll go
I
back
forget
into
what
this.
it was,
Who
but
was that again? Suicide Boys?
No, this is Ramirez.
This is Suicide Boys.
With Ramirez. No, this is Ramirez.
Oh.
Send me a link.
This isn't Motorola. This isn't
No,
Little
I know
Motorola.
that. Yeah.
Send me a link so I don't forget.
Yeah, I will.
Because it is. I like it. They've got that chop to it, but it's just
Right?
a hard-hitting beat.
And plus the fucking, the beat
Right.
fucking
Wait.
slaps.
Because
Wait
like that
till you
new
check
Eminem
this one.
Logic song, that shit's right up my
This
alley.
one, okay, because with the new gym we're going to, like when I go in the afternoon, I'm the only one there. So I'll open the big garage door, turn all the lights off, so it's just like that kind of dim natural light. And then there's this one. This is Monday.com. I've got to pay for premium YouTube, you guys. Seriously, I'm so cheap. Check this out.
This is so vibes.
Oh,
Now, do you just have headphones in at that gym?
No,
Or
crank
No.
that
there's a
bitch.
stereo?
yeah.
So loud, dude.
Ready? Just, going through the freezer section.
Going through, just shopping. Like, oh, what am I going to buy today?
This is a cruising song.
This makes me think like we're walking around someone's barbecue going, hey,
Yes.
hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I could hear this in the background at a barbecue.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Yeah, but it still moves enough that it keeps your heart rate up a little bit.
Right.
So like in between bench, this is a nice one, or in between really, really heavy volume squats.
Or when you're doing your mobility work.
Oh, right?
And then slowly build into your hype songs.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I remember Cole played little more, I can't fucking say it. Little more Motorola. Fuck
Holy
it.
fuck!
I think I'm having a stroke. God damn it. Lil Motorola and
by Ramirez.
by Ramirez. And so I looked that up and loved
she's
it.
been hooked ever since.
And so then I started
You're
looking up,
welcome.
and this is the new album.
Yeah.
And so when I looked it up at work, I've been actually scheduling. I work at a country radio station, and when I'm scheduling country music, I'm listening to
Stoner
this
white
album.
rap.
Right? Just angry people
hilarious.
stuff. And but yeah, and it also makes me feel really bitch ass when I'm driving with my windows down in my car, like
Oh,
I'm rolling
dude.
in like I've got 20s or something.
Fuck, yeah.
I actually have I think I probably do have 20s. I have a very
You have
large vehicle.
18s. You have 18s.
Yeah, probably
still kinda
18s.
cool.
Maybe.
I got.
At least they're
I think
legal.
I got 16s on
All
my
right. I've got 14s.
because I got a lot of meat.
I was
you
gonna
know
say,
what I mean?
your tires on your truck,
They look like-
you scream single dude right now. He's got
yeah.
2 subs, badass tires. He's in his pickup truck. He gets to lift whenever he wants to. Like, I'm like, dude,
Fucking living the
Cole
life,
is
man.
exactly. He's
Living
just
the
living
fucking
it.
loving life.
My
The
car
only thing
makes
you
me
have to
look
worry
like
about-
an old man with
No,
my
you-
shoes.
Your car makes you look like you wear sensible shoes and like you eat everything that's like doesn't touch on the plate and like your house is clean and covered in plastic. Like that's the kind of car you have, Josh.
It's
Why are you look at you?
Still swaying to that beat. That's how this
Yeah.
whole podcast is gonna go. Just keep
You
that in my ear.
grinding
Keep
your
that in
junk into the
background.
chair?
Just keep that in the background for me.
that'd be so sick.
Just the whole podcast. Just have a few songs going. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
I'd have to get rid of the non-premium YouTube though.
Or you could pull up Pandora. I've got my premium.
Did you guys hear what
Pandora.
happened with Pandora?
No, I did not.
Okay, Pandora listenership has gone down so much, and
Yeah,
I'm
because
pretty sure
only
it just
old
sold.
people and Josh listen to fucking Pandora.
Well, think about it. Pandora doesn't have the user ability that like a
You can't
Spotify
pick.
does.
You
Yeah,
can't pick what the fuck. Why would I
So-
listen to something I can't pick what I listen to?
Pandora.
What? Yeah, you can.
You notice something about it though? It's the same songs over and over
Very
and over
true.
again.
That is very
so
true.
there's a little less user ability because you can't go on Pandora and say, "Hey, I want to listen to the Ramirez album." You can put Ramirez in and it'll play you songs like Ramirez, but it's not necessarily going to play Ramirez.
No, you can. You can go in the search bar and then you'll pull up Ramirez as an artist, and they'll have all of the albums that they have, and you can listen to the entire album.
Yeah, but are you paying for Pandora
Yes.
Premium?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Yep.
see, I don't pay for Pandora Premium.
Okay.
I actually pay for Apple Music.
Yeah,
And
'cause we're
I dig Apple
fucking-
Music.
Yeah, because you're a
You're-
peasant and
yeah,
we are
that's fine.
not.
I'm good with being a
Well,
peasant.
and I just don't feel like paying for 52 services.
Rather be a
Right.
peasant than a king.
I wouldn't.
Oh fuck, being a king.
You can fucking go out and hoe
Now
your
you're
field all
sounding
day.
like the Lion King.
Yeah,
I
I'd
just can't wait to be a king.
Yeah, no, I'd rather be the queen's, bitch on the side. You know what I'm saying? I
The
don't wanna
side
be-
piece?
The side piece. Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
I'd rather be a king.
Slowly poisoning the king.
Okay,
Just
dude.
slowly.
Stop. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. What do you you just create this world in your mind that
Yes, I
I'm
do.
going back to my slime.
Did you not listen to anything I said yesterday? As the day went on, the world just kept changing. It was great.
Speaking of yesterday, we have got to talk about yesterday. Yesterday, we had our first ever local USAPL powerlifting meet here in the St. Cloud area. Tons of people that are within the fam. We got to talk about that. But before we go any further, we also need to mention something. It is very important that if you are listening to this podcast and you love it, you like it, maybe you think we're total shit turds and you just want to tell everybody, still tell people about this podcast, please. Share it on your social media. Give us a like. Tell us what you think of the episode. We are on Apple Podcasts or iTunes.
Yep.
We're on Spotify, we're on Google, we're on YouTube. And we're also, if you want to get the links for all of them, Coaches Collab Podcast has its own spot on the web at Get Complete. And you can get that link in our Instagram. And if we can get 150 followers.
Fuck this bitch that she's bringing this up.
I decided I did not
consult anybody.
I didn't.
No.
I just made this
She
thing.
told me I was doing this.
So because back when Josh did drugs and Beachbody a lot, we thought we would bring his past back. And if we can hit 150 followers, now it has to stay at 150 followers for at least 24 hours because it fluxes. So I'm going to give you that credit. But if we can get a bare minimum
Next
of 150 followers on our Instagram, Josh is going to have to do a Shalene Beachbody workout.
Shalene?
Wearing, yeah, you know,
I don't
like.
know what that is.
Oh my God, Shalene Lean. She's the one who does all the jazzercising stuff.
Shit.
Fucking kidding me?
You have to wear your singlet?
Dude,
Yeah,
I thought
and
I
leg
got
warmers
to choose.
and the wristbands of the sweatbands.
I thought I got to choose.
No, you
this
don't get to
workout.
P90X and look tough.
no,
Fuck
no,
that.
That's exactly what I wanted to do was P90X. I was
Yeah,
like, fuck,
no.
I could at least do
No,
that.
you get
Are
to do the.
fucking kidding me?
I'm trying to remember because I ordered it. I used to have it. What was it called?
I mean,
Oh, you already ordered it?
Oh, I own it from forever ago, and it was gay, and I couldn't do it.
shit.
It was horrible. I couldn't do it.
shit.
I gotta look up.
Shalene, are you fucking kidding me? God damn it.
And you're gonna wear your singlet,
Singlet and a few
leg warmers,
All right, all right.
I gotta
can
look at what
wear
it was
your-
called. You guys, it
headband.
was.
and your pink
my God.
wristbands too.
Oh my
It was
God.
literally.
I guess it's GPP for a reason.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you have no idea how much. You do have options. I'm going to be straight with you. You have options.
First of all, where am I doing this workout? In
we'll find a
studio?
spot.
Am I gonna
Sure.
just do it in the corner over there? Because
You could do her Pio DVD, Turbo Jam. That's what I had. Turbo Jam.
No.
Turbo Jam?
I have Turbo Fire. I have the whole series.
My God. She also though.
I
I
used to
think
do
the
that
one we
shit,
need to
actually.
have him
That's
do though.
embarrassing.
Shalene's new one is Country Heat, and that's where it's all country music. Maybe we put you in your singlet, and then we put you in cowboy
No,
boots.
I refuse.
I got a pair of shit kickers you can
I
wear.
refuse to do a country.
I got a cowboy
song
hat.
workout. This is bullshit. How come I don't get to make any of these decisions? right
Because
now?
we're bigger than both of you. So
So I can run.
I don't know why I
fast.
said both of you because I don't know
Yeah.
if you have a mouse in your pocket. But anyway.
I can run faster than you.
So yeah, if we hit Instagram likes or follows, excuse me, if we get 150 followers on Instagram, we're gonna make Josh do a Shalene from Beachbody workout of some sort. We will
Yep.
tape it and we will shame him profusely publicly.
So if we get 150 before this podcast comes out, do I get out of it?
no,
Damn it.
we already put the.
Shit. Damn it. Damn it.
If we hit 150 before the podcast comes out, then it just means that we're gonna, get to humiliate
Because
you faster.
we're already telling them about it, so you can't. take it
However,
back.
if we do hit 150 before the podcast comes out, that means that we have to leave it up to the podcast listeners to what the next number, probably like 175.
Shut the fuck
What the
up.
next, and it could be you, or it
No,
could be
let's
me,
go-
or it could be Cole.
Let's go 200.
200? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think
So
it should
then-
be Cole.
Doing
And let me run him through a workout. I will be his trainer.
nah, dude. I
Oh.
don't feel
We
like
can't get him
puking.
hurt, though. We can't get him hurt. Like,
I'm not gonna get him hurt.
I'm 3
you
weeks out
say
from
that.
the meet,
He's
dude.
3 weeks out from me, so
We'll
we can't
it
do that.
The week after your meet.
Nah, dude.
Nah, dude.
Let's do a foot race.
Oh, my God. And then I'm going to superimpose, like,
My
what about-
ass just blown away.
You don't want to do a foot, dude. I weigh
no.
I weigh 60 pounds more than you.
Dude,
So?
just watching the two of you race would be so funny. It would be like
Getting
the tortoise
blown
and the
away.
hare.
Yeah, for fuck's sake.
But the tortoise is
On a
fast as
40,
shit.
it's not like he's gonna beat me.
By the way,
8
I also
seconds
want
or
to say
something.
fuck you for neither of you thinking that I would be a part of the foot race, even though I wouldn't. You know, like when they do drag racing and the one car blows out before it leaves the start. That's me.
Yeah, Steven, you take the first step. Freaking blow your ankle out. Roll your ankle on a freaking pebble on the ground and then just be down.
When's the last time you've run?
On a pebble.
fuck. Dude, me too.
Yeah, right?
I'm trying to think the last time I ran.
When do you run? Like, I never have the. I like jog. I'll like jog from my car, like truck to the apartment or stuff like that. But
last year I did one sprint in the summer program. One. Just to demonstrate shit.
I haven't told this story on the podcast, I don't think. Maybe I have one of the first ones, but I can tell it again.
I just want, before you start, they were doing a charity kickball tournament and desperate for people to be on our Leighton broadcasting team this last week. And I was like, well, I suppose I could probably make it. Do we have to run very much? And they all looked at me and went,
it's kickball.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to be okay.
Holy shit.
So disrespectful.
And the worst part is I looked at him and I went,
we'd rather have,
you're right. You're right.
Next time,
nobody than you.
Brooke, next time, get us involved.
We'll fucking
go. Just tell them, oh, by the way,
I got a fucking
these guys are doing.
You know what's funny is you were off this week too. It was this last Friday. You totally could have done it.
I can kick the fuck out of a ball.
Oh, I can kick a ball, no problem. It's just that whole running to the base thing.
That'd be all right.
Have you ever seen like when you're watching like little kid t-ball and you know the ball, they've already got the ball at the base and they're just waiting.
Yeah.
Here comes, here comes Brooke right down the line. Here she comes, everybody, and we're waiting. Jesus. Someone goes to the bathroom, grabs some popcorn, comes back. I'm still hoofing it halfway through. Here we go.
Oh my God. Tell us the story so we can move on. Okay.
Brooke, turn your goddamn mic off.
Just imagine a watermelon with legs.
All the listeners are like, turn your fucking mic off. Put that goddamn Play-Doh away and turn your mic off.
It makes me calm.
Okay.
This is called. Oh shit.
Jesus.
All
okay,
right.
anyways.
Shh. Okay, I'm quiet.
I can't fucking stand you right now. I'm gonna walk out. I'm gonna walk out.
Yeah.
I my mic off.
We can still hear you. Shut the fuck up.
No, so this was not last summer, but the summer before when I was coaching at Rejuve still. So I was coaching high school athletes. And it was towards the end of the summer, and it was the last session we were gonna have with this soccer team, girls soccer team, and we were doing like a bunch of competitions, kind of having like a fun last day or whatever. Right. And we were doing a sled push like relay. You remember this, don't you?
I do remember this now.
So we were doing the sled push relay. We divided up like all the teams. There's 3 different teams, and one team is short one person. So initially I'm like, so and so, you're just gonna have to go twice. And then they look at me, they're like, Cole, come on, why don't you just do it with us? And I'm like, all right, shit, whatever. It's your last day, we'll have some fun.
Right.
And so I am an incredibly competitive person. I'm the type of person where if I'm driving down the highway and I'm not like passing everyone and people are passing me, like I need to go faster. Jesus. Because people going by me fucking drives me insane. So keeping that in mind,
whoa.
I end up going last. And like my team's like fucking way behind, right? I'm like, fuck this shit.
Not anymore.
Nope. I literally
we're down by 4 lengths.
I go
watch this shit
all out and just freaking come way from behind and freaking beat everyone, right? And I'm feeling good about myself beating these high school girls in the sled push race, right? And then,
I bet you feel great.
And then the other coach, who was Isaiah at the time.
Yeah, it's even better. That's why you were so competitive.
Well, he came up and he's like, all right, he's like, because everyone saw that, they're like, oh, that's not even fair. Like he's way bigger and stronger than us and faster. And Isaiah's like, all right, Cole, this next time when you go, he sat on the sled. He's like, you're gonna have to push me. And I'm like, oh shit,
but I'm still not gonna lose.
No, of course not. So it comes up to the time again, and so I freaking go at it, and I again beat everyone, even with Isaiah on the sled. And I'm like, holy shit, like that was actually kind of hard. Like I really fucking worked on that one. But again, I'm not gonna lose. So and then we did it one more time because it was like we needed to score one more point or whatever. We went through it one more time. Isaiah did the same thing, sat on the sled, and for whatever reason, this time just crushed me. Like I got through it good, like and fast, but like right after I was done, I was like, whew. I don't feel so good.
Jesus, you fat out of shape piece of shit.
Please tell me you threw up.
All
Please
the
tell me you
fucking
threw up.
blood drains out of my face. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. So already embarrassed, right? So I go to the bathroom. I literally have the spins. I feel like cold sweats, and I'm freaking sitting in the stall. I'm like, don't throw up. Don't throw up. I was in there. I couldn't get my wits about me. It was like 15 minutes I was sitting in that fucking stall.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and then again, embarrassment and just like feeling like a fat piece of shit. I'm like, I only did that twice, and I'm freaking
dying.
It's like, well, guess what? I could fucking deadlift 700 pounds, but I can't do that simple shit.
Right.
But yeah, that's my experience with.
Did you come out and tell people you went into the infrared just to help, recovery?
Yeah, I was just in the sauna for
Sorry. That's how I've been feeling all week. I've been doing just basic minimal shit.
Oh, dude,
all week.
Isn't that insane how specificity plays a huge role? Like, yeah, you snatch something really cool, but you can
pull-ups,
general shit.
Yeah, doing
absolutely
4 sets of pull-ups, and the next morning I'm like,
dude,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I used to do a ton of pull-ups. Oh my goodness. But yeah, yesterday.
Oh yeah, yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's why we're doing this today.
Well, Brooke freaking derailed this goddamn podcast before it got going.
By the way, her mic is off, and we can still hear that bitch.
I turned it back on.
Oh, your light is off, so I just figured.
I'm sorry. I just keep thinking watermelon with legs. Booty, 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 booty.
Oh my! Shut up! God damn. So Cole, just talk to me. Just forget she's even here.
God damn it.
So Cole, what happened at the Granite City Open?
We had an awesome fucking meet, man.
Fuck yeah.
Woo.
My
was
first
sweet.
one. That was cool.
Josh's first meet that he coached at, and it was the first meet that we were at together ever.
Right.
You know? And it was cool. It was fun, man. It was a lot of people that we knew. And so I had Ben, who it was his first ever meet, Ben Lawrence. Shout out Ben. And then I helped Calvin out with warm-ups and some of his numbers and whatnot. And it was just a really fun meet, man. Everyone had fun, and everyone had a good meet.
Right. And I think we squeezed out of our athletes everything we could.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was just overall a good time, man. The energy was really good, and the meet ran super, super smooth.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ginny.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed.
Oh man,
coming from last week at the IWF competition and this one, so different.
Yeah,
so different.
The USAPL, especially Minnesota. I've said this time and time again, but I'll say it forever until they prove me wrong. This is the best state to lift in the USAPL.
Right.
The meets here, having been at national level meets, the meets in Minnesota are as close as you can possibly get to how a national meet is run.
Oh, absolutely.
And even better sometimes.
Right. I loved how strict they were yesterday.
Yeah.
It kind of burned Luke a little bit in the beginning, but once we adapted,
man,
it was awesome.
Exactly. The judges, and like this was a very novice level meet. A lot of the lifters there, it was their first ever meet, but the judges weren't throwing them any bones. They're like, these are the rules. You have to do it by the rules.
Right.
And they were even stricter than sometimes they usually are. So, but again, that was a perfect experience for those lifters, because for me as a coach, I'm like, okay, well, they were being super stringent on locking your knees at the top of the squat.
Right.
So I just
before you lift.
Yep. Before you get the start command. So I just went to Ben and Cal, and I was like, hey, you guys just really emphasize locking your knees at the beginning of the squat. And then so you just make that quick adjustment, and then it was fine from there. But so yeah, just props to Ginny and all the volunteers that were awesome. Refs did an awesome job. It was just a fun thing to be a part of.
Right. It was funny that they came up to us after squats and they're like, so do you know who happened to leave a bunch of weights on the bar? And you and I looked at each other like, well, that was us.
Yeah, in the warm-up room.
In the warm-up room. Sorry.
Yeah, no, they
came back, and not that they were chewing our ass.
You two got totally hosed on that?
Oh yeah, we got in trouble. Yeah. We got in trouble.
We were doing some stupid shit back there anyway.
Well, you got to think too, though. You guys were third flight. You were flight C, and it was coming into the ladies for bench. So here you probably left like 8,000 pounds.
Yeah, we left 5 pounds on the bar.
Fuck yeah.
Well, it was. I mean, and fuck, man. Props to me, because I'm a fucking awesome coach and had the warm-ups timed perfect. Yeah, for every single lift, like everything was just on, and that's part of the reason that it was just a fun meet, because everything was just going exactly the way that it should. But yeah, what happened is after squats, I think Ben took the last warm up and it was 495. And so it was 495, and then it was like, all right, we got to go because you got a short flight. We got to, get you over there and ready to hit the platform. And then, so they told me, like, and it was like when Ben was like 3 lifters out. Like, hey, is this your bar over here? And then I'm like, yeah, I'll unload it. And then, of course, I fucking forgot about it.
Right.
And so they made sure that after that we did it all ourselves.
Yeah, they made sure they came up to us and they were like, it's not cool.
Yeah, but I told them too. I'm like, I totally get it, and I respect that you're actually holding us to this because I understand why you're doing it. But yeah, we got away with one on the squats, but we fixed it after that.
For sure. And I think what was really cool, so it being my first meet, you being there was really cool because there were little things that I just wasn't aware of.
Right.
Like I thought the order of squats was going to stay exactly the same. That each round of lifts, they were just going to keep adjusting the bar. I didn't realize, oh shit, the order's going to change.
Right. So cool. For example, your guy Luke, who was kind of our, they were all kind of our guys.
It was really cool. Yeah.
So Luke he was first in the flight for squats, but then he was last in the first attempt for bench.
Right.
So you didn't realize that right away. So you were kind of timing his warm ups as if he was going to go first.
Exactly.
On bench like you did for squats, and you're like, oh shit, we got an extra 8 minutes that we didn't know we had.
Right. But then what was interesting is after his first bench, then he was second last.
Yep.
So we had to quick adjust, and it was. I definitely learned enough. I learned a lot. It
was a small meet, but it was enough where you kind of get your feet wet, and you kind of understand the goings-ons of the back and the warm-up room.
Oh, it was the perfect situation because I recognized a lot of the volunteers. I mean, we had Brooke as the announcer.
Yep.
It couldn't have been more of a comfortable, relaxing environment for me to learn this shit.
Yeah.
And it even, and I was stroking your ego before, but the amount of people, the amount of coaches that came up to you in between shit was awesome. Just to see that, not that they were riding your nuts a little bit, but they always, if they had a question, they were coming to you.
What's cool, and I wanted to touch on this too, is like I feel this way almost after every single meet that I coach at, is that this culture that we have, and I can only speak for the Minnesota culture because that's all I've been exposed to, but is so positive. And it's so refreshing because these are literally people that I only see on powerlifting meets, powerlifting meets. And I don't see them outside of that. But every time you see them, it's like, hey, how's it going?
Right.
It's, and it's like, or even over Instagram, it's all positivity. Everyone's there to support each other. So there's no freaking bad blood or there's no like it's just like everyone is just really nice.
Right.
And it's just fun to be around those people when like you have this powerlifting thing in common because just out in the world,
it's hard to find somebody.
Right.
Like
you
that,
don't necessarily have that in common with a lot of people, but you're at this freaking central hub of all these freaking meatheads that love exactly what you love. And it's just a cool environment to be around. So it's always fun on these meet days to catch up with people that you haven't seen for a while or for a couple meets and then ask them how their training's going and stuff like that. So it's just fun I just love it, man.
Right. I think it was, for me, what was nice is there was a time where everybody was kind of goofy, but then there was a time where everybody was serious, where everybody there was this vibe train or this wave that we kept riding where everybody's just really relaxed and I mean, I was fucking around so much yesterday.
Yeah, you were.
I was, oh God.
But again,
But when it came time to,
get serious.
We need to get serious. And I mean, we put our game faces on and we definitely took care of it. But I want to go back to all 3 of the athletes that we were helping. We got the most out of them possible.
Yeah.
Are there any things so I'll just use Luke as an example. So we got red lighted on his first lift because he didn't follow 2 of the commands. He didn't have his knees locked. And then so he started to squat too early because he didn't get the down cue. And then he racked it too early. So he got 2 red lights and he technically missed it.
Which, I mean, your first squat ever in a competition.
Right.
I remember my first squat ever. And I remember walking the weight out and I'm like, I can't fucking feel my legs.
Oh, shit.
My legs are numb right now. So I'm just going to kind of go through
go for
it.
Yep.
And hope that it's okay because, like, that's how nervous I was.
Right.
So I can definitely relate with Luke and just kind of that flustered, nervous. I've got fucking a ton of weight on my back.
And 10 people screaming at me around me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, and especially if you're not used to lifting in front of a lot of people,
right?
You're freaking looking out into that, and you just see eyeballs.
Right.
Everyone's
and they're
looking at you.
Either watching you to watch you fail,
or like in his case, just waiting because he's standing up at the top of the squat, not getting the squat command, and he's like, "Well, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
Why can't I go yet?" And then he just says, "Fuck it," and then does it anyway.
Goes. And then what was interesting is him being it's his first competition. He wasn't aware that the spotter that was going to be behind him was going to be so like go yeah.
Yeah, Paul was yelling at him.
Oh, in a good way. Though.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, Paul is a really cool guy, and he is.
I love Paul.
Luke wasn't expecting certain things to happen, which was kind of cool.
Well, and that's something to be said too about yesterday. We had the most amazing spotter loader crew.
Oh my gosh.
James Vang was there. You had Paul, and
Speaking of, we should have James on the podcast.
For sure.
He is kind of badass, and he would like breakdance in between sets. It was amazing. But the other thing too to think about is you had Alice, she's like a national level judge now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so it's not even like you just have these random clubs coming out and being spotter and loaders. Like, you've got like big time people who are there.
That's what's super cool too, is like when those people like James, who's gone to worlds multiple times, who's won multiple national championships, and then Alice, it's so cool because then when you go to these big meets, you see familiar faces and it kind of feels like home. Because like at the Arnold, Alice was the person, like the gatekeeper, they kind of call him, the ref that's like letting them know when the lifter has to go out there.
Oh yeah.
And Alice was the one sitting there. It's like, how's it go? You know what I mean? It feels just like home, like we're back in Minnesota. But it's Minnesota's. I mean, again, I'm kind of riding Minnesota's dick here, but.
But there's something to be said about it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And there aren't a lot of there's a lot of states that compete, and having branched out and talked to lifters in other states, like their meets don't sound the same as our meets.
Right.
Like for the first time, on my meets 2 weeks ago,
we've got a pro radio DJ announcing our
which
meets.
was awesome.
Yeah,
by the way. Just
butter me up, it'll get you everywhere.
So again, I've never been at any other meet, but but I can only imagine that. Just the fact that you were like, this person's next, this person's on deck, this person's in the hole, and then you were like doing other announcements all at the same time.
Well, she did a good job of like just bringing the energy.
And
because
there was consistency.
A powerlifting meet is not very fun to watch for the average fucking person who doesn't know what's going on. So
proof in the pudding is when you look at the audience during bench session.
Yeah,
it's
bench is the worst.
I even said it. I go, listen, people, I love to bench, but I know how much you don't love to watch bench. So let's have some fun.
Yeah.
But also something that I noted coming into powerlifting, and I was super interested in it, and I had no clue. So imagine people who are only there because their grandson is lifting or something.
Right.
I tried to also talk about what they're seeing on the platform.
Yes.
You know, like when the one guy had forgotten to put his arms up on his
singlet,
and he had to walk back off, and I'm sure they're going, what's just happened? And I just said that. I go, it's a rule that the only thing you can adjust once you're on the platform is your belt. So he had to walk off real quick to put his arms back up and then come back out.
Right.
And things like you could tell when they were watching like on bench, like why are some people getting boxes under their feet?
Right.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I think we talked a little bit about equipment. Like you'll notice that when we deadlift, everybody is required to wear socks up to their knees. Whereas there's other pieces of equipment like knee sleeves in squats. A lifter can choose if they want to wear that or not.
Right.
People were wondering like, well, why didn't they get that lift? Like a lift will look great.
Right.
And it'll be like, well, they just didn't hit quite depth. Or like there was one, what was it? Bench especially, it was like if a butt comes up, because they can't see that from the audience.
Right.
And we actually had quite a few benchers who actually lost due to butt coming off the seat, not just a failure of the actual lift.
And it's nice that you have such a background in powerlifting too, and you brought that excitement. But again, there was a consistency to how you were doing it, where even in the back room, it's like I know exactly where it is. Where by the time it was deadlift, I didn't even really have to look at the screen much anymore because I knew, okay, we got this on the bar. We're here. We're still in flight B. You were announcing enough for the coaches in the back room, which was cool too.
Yeah.
But so after Luke got red lighted on his first lift, he thought, fuck, I didn't hit depth or whatever he thought. And it was interesting that part of a coach's job is not to just keep them calm, but to just talk them off that ledge.
Yes.
Because I did that a lot yesterday, I noticed.
Yep.
And
I did a lot of that too.
yeah, just where they're like, oh, fuck, I didn't. No, don't worry about it. And where you just have to reframe their mind.
Exactly. And what the thing is too is like you have to be able to look at your lifter and kind of see what they're thinking.
Yes.
And then kind of just steer them in the right mindset for the next lift. We were lucky enough where the two guys that I was helping, they both went 3 for 3 on squat and bench. So they were kind of carrying that momentum. Right. But there's been times where maybe something happens and you go 2 for 3 or 1 for 3 on one of those lifts. And then you have to come from being disappointed because of you underperforming into being excited again and to execute the next lift to the best of your ability. So as a coach, you have to be able to, explain to them and kind of just reframe their mindset so that they're again ready to perform for the next lift. Because we learned this so much in football, and it's important, very important in powerlifting too, is just to have a short memory.
Yes.
Like regardless if it's good or bad. We always said you don't want to be too high, you don't want to be too low, because that's going to affect your decision-making ability.
You might be up by 28 points in the Super Bowl and still lose,
Yeah. Or, you throw an interception and but that you still got to come out and, 2-3 minutes and perform well again. Or say you hit a giant bench press PR, but then your warm-ups for deadlifts are going a little bit slower than you would like, but you're still riding that confidence high from bench. You can say, fuck it, I'm feeling good anyway, we're going to go with that. And then your opener moves like shit where you maybe should have lowered it. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of not too high, not too low, maintain that sensible middle ground where you're still objectively looking at everything. And that's one gift that a good coach should have, just to kind of frame their lifter's mindset in the correct way.
And I also want to go off on that in saying you need to know your athlete ahead of time.
Yeah.
So some athletes come to a meet and they find somebody that day just to call their numbers or whatever.
And I've done that, and it's tough.
It's very tough because you don't know what they're thinking. Me having known Luke for almost a year now, I kind of know how he thinks, and I kind of know where his confidence is and where it's not. And it definitely came into play on his bench. So he hit the squat that we wanted, all according to plan. He did the jumps according to plan. It was great. Bench, we opened where we wanted. But just seeing his first bench, I knew instantly he was tired from his squat. So objectively, I was like, okay, so we've had
got to change the plan.
Yeah, I always have options of if it moves really fast, if it's kinda, and if it's slow. So I picked the next weight. And thankfully, I picked that weight because he got it, and it was a grind. It was definitely a grind. But in the back room, I lied to him. I bold-faced lied to him. And after the meet, I said, "Here's how your meet went."
Yeah.
But in the moment, I lied, and I was like, "What do you mean it went slow?" No. That went fast as shit. Well, it felt like shit, and I'm like, "Dude, your adrenaline is pumping like crazy. Of course, it feels like shit."
Exactly. And there's the thing too, is you have to, because for someone like Ben. I don't, because he's a very analytical kind of thinker, and he's at least outwardly, he doesn't show that he gets too high or too low. And he's also kind of the person that I feel like wants to kind of know.
Right.
I couldn't get away with that because he was I fucking know. Yeah. That was fucking slow, dude. And you know what I mean? But someone who maybe is a little bit neurotic and has highs and lows, dude, fucking that moved faster than you think it did. You kind of got to get them up a little bit. You know?
And then he came back at me and he's like, really? Because it was really slow. And I'm like, well, it slowed down, but it wasn't slow. I'm like, we are going up from here, It's seeing that it went as slow as it did, I took the minimum jump, and we were unsuccessful. But from my standpoint, I feel he and I were successful in that we got the most out of his bench we could.
Exactly. You couldn't have gotten any more because you took that other jump and there wasn't anything there.
Exactly. And from that, even though he missed, I said, dude, that's awesome. Obviously, we got the most out of your bench, and tried to put that positive spin on it. Then we went into the deadlift. His opener blew it up. Blew it up so fast that we took the 15 kilos, so the 33-pound jump, just like we had planned. And then he hit that. It wasn't as fast, but it moved really fast. So in the moment, I was like, okay, I have, if it moves like shit and if it moves really well, I need to pick something in the middle.
Yep.
So, and what's interesting is you're like, dude, that was strong. And I'm like, fuck yeah, it was strong. Went up and I said, it was like a 10 kilo jump. I'm like, dude, we just jumped 33. We could jump 22. No big deal.
Yep.
Unfortunately, what had happened was in his hand opened up a little and the bar rolled. So he started chasing the bar, couldn't get it around his knees at that point, right?
Yep.
So could it have been there? Sure.
I think at being there, I think that was the smart jump.
Yeah.
And that touches on one thing too, as a coach, especially when you're calling numbers, you cannot get like sucked into the hype. So you mentioned me like say, oh, you know, because I was fucking hyped because he crushed it. You know what I mean? It was his second attempt was a good lift. So I'm like, that was fucking strong. And then like if you were to be like, whoa, okay, maybe it was better than I thought.
Right.
Yeah. And then you put in maybe a bigger jump than maybe you should have.
Right.
So again, like as a coach, trust your gut is the biggest thing that I've really I struggled with at first, but I'm finally kind of getting the hang of it. Is just because like I've seen enough lifts that I have kind of just a feeling of how much they have left.
Exactly.
And especially if you know your lifter enough, like if you know that they can really grind through some shit, or maybe they're not as much of a grinder. So, and especially in a small meet like this, it's kind of it's a lot of these lifters' first meet. And there was time with Ben, like after his second, because what we did is we planned first attempts. And then all his firsts look really good, so we automatically went to his planned second attempts.
Right, correct, yeah.
And then, but after every single second attempt, I looked at him and I said, how did that feel? And after his squat, he was like, that it was heavy.
Right.
So even though it looked really good, and I was like, okay, well, we'll go with a little more conservative. And then it ended up being a fucking perfect call because he really didn't have anything left.
Right.
And so you have to be able to go with your kind of have a gut feeling on what you think is going to be the next move, and then also just check in with the lifter
for sure.
I mean, that's kind of it depends on the lifter too, because again, a lifter could be like, oh, that fucking it was fast, or they have this number set in their head,
right? So
they're gonna lie to you and say that it felt good just because they want you to put that number on the bar,
right?
But as a coach, you have to, like I said, go with your gut
for sure.
Know what's there, take them into consideration, absolutely. But at the same time, you probably know because you saw it.
Right.
They didn't see it. They felt it, and that can be
deceiving.
It can be inflated, how heavy it was, or it can be you could feel better than it looked. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it for sure.
And with Luke, we had talked in the past. He wanted his third attempt to be a 500-pound deadlift, right? So he came after his second lift, and just the excitement he had in his face, I was like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. But I still only put it in at 495.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself,
coming up to me, he's like, I wonder if he's going to be pissed if he makes this and finds out that it was only 495.
Right. And I thought that in the moment. So from stage, to the table, exactly.
It doesn't, yes, that would make him, but this is what I tell all my lifters all the time, is because for Ben's prep, the whole time, we knew that he was going to be really, really close to 600 on both his squat and his deadlift.
Right.
But I would like hype him up, be like, fuck, man, we're going to be right there. But then I would always tell him, I'm like, hey, even if it's not there that day, you're going to hit 600 squat and deadlift. Yeah. It's just, maybe it's not that specific day.
Right.
But 600 is always going to be there for you to hit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the most that's available that day.
Exactly.
If it's 600, then awesome. If it's not, then whatever. We're still gonna build the biggest total that you could possibly put up on that specific day.
Right.
And that's the most important thing. Is a lot of, especially novice lifters, they get so caught up in these specific numbers, and it's. I understand they kind of have these goals,
right?
But it's
your first meet.
It's your first meet, and the numbers are going to come if you continue to do everything right.
Right.
And you have to understand that it's not like you'll never, ever do a powerlifting meet again.
Exactly. Right.
Like, these are not, like, it's just, if you continue to do the right things over time, you'll continue to get strong and you will eventually hit those goals.
Yeah.
But you can't you can't rush that.
Right. And like Jake said last week, as long as you're trending up, you're good.
you're good, man.
Exactly.
Patience. Be patient.
And with Luke, he's hit 500 pounds in the gym before, but that's all he had to do that day.
Exactly.
And I was willing to, again, and I only have 20 feet.
Yep.
5 steps to make this call.
Right.
And I thought to myself,
have a minute. You know what I mean? So even if you get over there and that's the thing too, is once you start thinking.
No, and I knew that. So my gut instinct was, we're not doing 5.
Yep.
We'll go get close. And if he's pissed, at least I can have a conversation with him saying, I did it because I wanted to set you up for success. I did not want you to miss.
Right. Well, and he knows that he might have been like, let's just say that he crushed his third attempt at 495. It fucking flew. And then he comes over and finds out that it was 495. He might be pissed for a minute, but it's not like you fucked him over on purpose.
Right. No.
You know what I mean?
He
knows that you have his best intentions for him that day. So, I mean, it might be a little hit to the ego at first because you're like, fuck, man, I knew 500 was there. Right. But at the end of the day, you hit your third attempt. You, to the most part, maximize what you're able to do.
Exactly.
So you just got to take what's there, what's for sure. Because at the end of the day, hitting more lifts is going to put together a bigger total. And how powerlifting is scored is by the total.
Right.
I mean, that's really all that matters. And like for someone, because Ben is kind of this way and I'm kind of this way too, is we're not necessarily exceptionally really, really good at one lift. We're pretty good at all, like across the board.
Right. Which you have to be if you want to be good.
Potentially, but there's some people who just have like an outlandish deadlift who can get by with kind of a shitty bench because they have a huge
crush
deadlift.
You on the deadlift.
Right. But when you're kind of mediocre across the board, or not mediocre, but more even across the board, it's just all about chipping away at that total, hitting attempts, getting. I mean, because again, like even if you leave, let's say you leave 10 pounds on the platform on your third attempt.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well you'll just hit that next time.
Right, exactly. And with Luke, what was nice is I could always say, but you did hit 473.
Exactly.
So what if you didn't get 495?
It's your first meet,
exactly.
Man.
And
everything's a PR.
So when we were going over all of his attempts and all of his numbers, I had it all written down, and then a couple days later, I was like, dude, like, what do you want your total to be? And he's like, God, I wish it would be over 1,200 pounds. So even though on that deadlift I did put it in under, his total was 1,210, even though he didn't get his last one. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, he can't be mad, no matter what. And if he is a little bit, sorry, next time when we're at the meet, I'll make sure we put that on.
Yep, and that's the thing too is, especially with these local meets, you kind of have to talk to the lifter and set priority goals.
Exactly.
So, like if you're at a national meet, priority is always to win.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit what your PRs are. We're gonna put the most, like we're gonna build your total so that you can have the best chance of winning.
Right.
I don't give a shit if our third attempt is 2 pounds under your all-time PR. If it's 2 pounds and that's what's gonna be there, then that's what we're gonna take. We're not gonna take a stupid jump because then you're stuck with your second attempt, which has the potential, like in your guys' case, is 22 pounds less than your third attempt.
And
so that's 22 pounds off your total that would have maybe been there.
Exactly.
So, but at a local meet, you have a little bit more play with what your goals are and what you really want to do.
Right.
So, like again, for Ben, it was big that we qualified for nationals.
Yeah.
So that was the big goal, and we kind of knew that was going to be there regardless. But that was the biggest priority, and then everything off of that was like, okay, it's your first meet, so everything's just going to be what it is. We're going to hit the most amount of attempts possible. And we're just going to have fun. And you're going to experience this environment, and you're kind of going to get your feet wet. But it was because he hit his qualifying total on his opening deadlift. So it's like, fuck, man. Now it's just a bonus.
Right.
Everything
now
else is just,
good
exactly.
we can do.
Exactly.
With Luke, so when I did put 495 on, I was like, if he's mad at me because it's not 500, so what? So what I did was I went back into the room. I did my math wrong, but I looked at it and I'm like, dude, if he gets this, he'll get 4th instead of 5th. So I went up to him and talked place with him. I'm like, dude, pull this bitch. You get 4th place.
Yeah.
And again, he gave it everything he fucking had. And
he did.
All day he was giving it everything he had. And again, what was cool is being able to talk him off the ledge and keeping him calm. And I mean, that's really what our job is at the end of the day, is to highlight their power, I guess, to highlight them. We
want them to be able to express their strength
right
on that day. and to the best of their ability.
Right.
And we're kind of like the mediators of that, where we kind of do all the work behind the scenes. They've done all the fucking work
Right.
up to that point. But there's a lot of psychological shit that can go on that day, and it's our job to mitigate all that stuff.
Right.
So that's it's an interesting job, and it's like for me, I'm only getting better at it and more comfortable with it every single meet that I do. And I have more and more fun every meet that I do, because there's less nervousness, there's less what ifs. It's just like, okay, well, I know that I have this system down now to a certain extent. So it's just like, okay, we just hit these marks and we perform, and then it's just fun. So
yeah, I have to say, when Luke got red lighted on his first squat, as a coach, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh, we can fix that.
Right.
It's just he's going a little too quickly for the judges. It's fine.
Yep.
But immediately I'm like, what am I failing at? Like, oh shit.
Right, because then you're
Right.
like, I didn't get them ready enough for this.
Exactly. But I made absolutely sure I didn't put it on my face. The
Mhm.
moment he came up, I'm like, dude, it's just because you didn't have your knees locked and you racked it too early. No big deal. Let's fucking go.
Yep.
And then again, pulling him out of it. But the whole time I'm like, God, I hope that's all it was.
Yep.
Holy shit. I hope that. And it was.
And then because you had the rare thing that, like, when you miss an opener on a technicality, then you have to make that decision. It's like, okay, well, do we go up?
Yes.
Because if we go up and he misses on strength, then you're kind of fucked.
Right.
Because then it's like, all right, well, now we painted ourselves in this corner, and on that third attempt, it's like, you got to get this thing, man, or we're out of the meet.
Exactly.
So I've done that before personally. At my last meet, I missed my opening deadlift, just because like it felt so good that I wasn't expecting it to move that fast, and I
remember that you lost your balance.
I lost balance at the top.
Right.
Yeah, and then but at that point, it's like, well, fuck, man. Well, granted that felt really, really good, but it's still like you're kind of jumping off of a ledge onto that second attempt.
And that's what I kind of did with Luke.
Yeah.
I really love that you guys are talking about this, because I think it's going to have two perspectives here. One, I know for a fact that there are other coaches right now that are potentially listening to this going, oh my God, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Okay. But two, I love the fact that you're making it apparent that you do have to put on a little bit of a smoke show for your athletes.
Yes.
Because like my last meet that ended up being, in my opinion, the best meet I've ever been at, it wasn't until after we had already eaten with the team afterwards, drove all the way home, I'm laying on the floor in basically non-mobile pain, because I'm like, now my body's catching up to me, watching these guys lift. And all of a sudden, Cole finishes. I don't know if you were squatting or what, but I remember you took your belt off.
I was fired up too.
He was super fired up, and he came over and he goes, listen here, Stevens, if you ever act like that in the warm-up room again during bench warm-ups, I will fucking walk out. And I was like, what just happened? And he knows that with me, you can be, and I ask that. It's one of the reasons that I had so much trouble in the beginning finding even a good personal trainer.
Right.
You have to be fucking blunt with me.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm not going to get it. I'm going to think you're just playing along.
But in the moment, no.
Oh, no. And he knew I would have crumbled because I was so, and he even admitted to me, he goes, and you know what? He goes, you weren't hitting depth on your squats in the warm-ups. He goes, I didn't know what the fuck was going to go on, but holy fuck, it worked out. And I'm like laying on the floor.
I got mid-workout fucking hyped up on pre-workout. But I had all of this freaking stewing in my mind because I was so irritated with her in the warm-up room for bench, because she was riding this high after squats, but she was fucking Lottie freaking da talking to people.
We got to
like,
get shit going.
I'm like, you got to hit a warm up here. What the hell are you doing?
Right.
And then she just be fucking like, just wasn't really taking it all that seriously. And then, but at the time, I had to stay composed, make sure she still did all her shit. But then later, when I was squatting,
Rip her a new
getting
one.
my test freaking flowing.
I literally went home with 3 assholes. Like,
Rip that bitch a
but
new
you know
one.
what was great about it? Now, granted, we have a different relationship than some
exactly.
people
I
are
was
going to
just
have.
gonna
Like,
say,
you would, if it had been other people, you probably would have been like, so here, we're going to talk about this.
Yep.
But
Well, I just
it's
sent
me,
you-
so he's like,
Yeah.
fucking A, Stevens.
Yep.
But you know what happened with that is it gave me a chance to go back and go, what the fuck did I do different? Like, why the fuck was I acting like that?
Right.
Because I don't act like that at meets. I am usually the one, like I've always said,
But you were
who's
so
pretty
happy
intense.
about your squats.
You know what I was doing? I was chatting with other people. I don't normally talk to other people when I go to meets until the meet's done.
Right.
Well, and we're getting to this stage now too, because you've been to more meets that you see people that you know.
Right.
So you see, and then you feel obligated to talk to them, but you have to know, and they fucking know too, but you have to just be like, hey, either you put your headphones in or you just put on your fucking bitch face and you have to focus on what you're doing because it's your meat. It's your meat,
exactly.
Man. And
you got to be as selfish as you can.
Yeah, you're gonna train all these weeks leading up to it and then just fucking fool around in the warm-up room and not take it seriously. It's like, no, you need to know when to flip that switch and go into competitor mode.
Right.
And like we were talking about earlier, like when we were chilling in between the times where we needed to start warming up and stuff, we were fucking bullshitting, having a good time,
ripping into each other.
Exactly. And even, I mean, chatting with the other people and walking around, just, you know, having fun talking to people. And then, but when we started those warm-ups, man, the switch flipped and we knew it's business.
Right.
You know?
We instantly snapped because you and I on the side were talking a lot where it's like, okay, when are you going to start your warm-ups? You're like, I'm going to start at about mid-flight. And I'm like, well, we don't need that many, so I'll come a couple after. But you and I had a plan established even amongst all the bullshit. Where as soon as we saw on the screen it was time, we both were like, all right, don't fucking talk to us.
But let's talk about the fact that as a coach, that conversation, like I said, it's a totally different relationship with you and I. And some people are lucky enough to still have that. You can just beat the shit out of each other and laugh about it. Like I even remember afterwards saying, just so you know, I was asking myself, what the fuck is going on? Like I was fucking embarrassed. I was like, why did I just do that?
Well, you were getting vibes from me.
Oh, well, I did. Like it was after the third bench warm up where I took an extra couple reps because I was like, oh, I fucked it up.
She missed every single command.
Every command he was giving me.
Her last warm up, she missed every command. And I'm like,
I wasn't listening. My brain was racing like a fucking race car around a track. And I remember just kind of going, oh, fuck. And I kind of walked away, and then I did put my ears in, and then I got my head right and threw on some, you know, Insane Clown Posse, and I fucking crushed my benches. But it might not have happened that way because I didn't have a good warm up. And again, it was one of the first meets where I was like, oh, hi. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. It was like the Minnesota. Hey. Oh, hey.
Well, and here's the thing too, is we're going to run into this more and more. But
if you hadn't talked to me about it, if you had just let it sit there and put it in your notebook and walked away, I would have never had it as a key point to go, oh, shit. You know, what if we had walked into another meet? Like I want to do this push-pull in August. What if we'd walked in there and the same, oh my God, if the same thing had happened, Cole probably would have lost it.
But here's the thing now is I can go back on that and say, hey, we talked about this before.
Exactly.
You need to just dial it in a little bit more.
Right. And the nice thing is it's not going to throw me off either.
Exactly.
So if you say, hey, ooh, you know, like code word, I always say, give me code word sausage if I'm being obnoxious. You know, like something that'll snap me and go, okay, I need to chill out.
Right.
That was not, and the conversation you had with me, I can imagine as a coach, is not easy to have with other lifters because you don't want to shit on the good, but you have to. It's so constructive.
Well, and this
constructive is the word.
And I sent you one too, and I do this to all my lifters after a meet, is I send them a meet reflection document where it has just a bunch of questions about the training leading up to the meet and then the meet day itself. And I always stress, just be completely honest. Like if there's something more that you want from me or something that you thought that maybe I could have been doing better at, let me know. But then also there's like what went well during the meet, what didn't go well, all this stuff, so that if there is something that you're thinking about that you think maybe wished would have went a different way, at least now we can communicate about that. And then we can have a basis like, okay, well, this is going to change next time then. We won't do this again. So it's going to get better and better and better. And that's why, I mean, you know this, Brooke, with every single meet that we've done together, it's like becomes like we're almost nonverbal now. So we know the process of things and we know kind of how each other does stuff. So you just become more autonomic and it becomes more of just a flow where it's just like, this is just what we do. We've gotten to this system that works. Because we've looked at things that didn't work before, we cut them out and we've emphasized the things that do work and we just roll off of that. And that's why every single meet gets better. And like as a coach, it just rolls better when you kind of have that communication under everything because you're not guessing. You know, so that's the biggest thing.
Well, and you get to know the quirks too. Like I can't handle tight quarters. I can't handle when I'm shoulder to shoulder with someone and I'm constantly in the way. And it was the ladies of Iron Meat was ridiculously busy because there were so many lifters, and I was fourth flight, and I literally napped in between. I had an hour and a half between my last squat and my bench my first bench. So my bench warm up was, I had an hour. I literally found a small room and I took a nap.
That's awesome.
But he gets that too. Like there was one point, because there was a ton of teammates who were like, hey, after my squats, they wanted to say something. He had to come and find me because he knew that I was going to be sitting somewhere all by myself. Usually I don't even have social media.
Right, decompressing.
Usually he gets my phone. But that's how I roll. And it's really, really nice. And I also can't stress enough how amazing it feels to have teammates. It's one thing when your parents and everybody show up, it's parents, it's cool. But when you have teammates that show up and root for you.
Yeah, shout out to Ben Hartle, freaking driving up from Cato.
Yeah.
Right? An hour and a half to come watch you lift.
Unbelievable. Like, I thought he was lying. I was like, dude, I'm going to pay for your entry fee. Like, he's like, no. And then we had Jeff and Caitlin.
Yep. Yeah.
I always want to call her not Caitlin. I always want to call her Katie, and I don't think that's right. Does she go by Katie?
Kate.
Kate.
Yeah, it's Kate.
Okay.
Jeff Thompson and Kate.
Yeah,
what's
we
her
had him
last
on
name?
the podcast.
Yeah, the
Isn't
ones
it
we
like,
had.
does it start with a V?
No, I think it's like Strupp or something.
Oh,
like
yeah. God, she's going to shoot me.
Yeah.
She's going to totally.
Just call her Thompson because
she's one of our most
I
avid
know,
listeners.
and I'm a shithead.
And then
She's going to light me
knowing
up.
her name made me question it too. Like, it's fucking Kate,
Sorry,
right?
Kate.
I was like,
Sorry,
is it Caitlin or
Kate.
Katie or Kate?
You can
Anyway.
come back
Can
whenever
you please
want.
roast Brooke alive?
Oh my
Yes.
God, I'm a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, she's seriously she's gonna light up my Snapchat now.
Right, good.
And she's going
Let
to
her
do
have
it in
it.
an angry voice.
Because she doesn't hold back either.
No, I'm probably gonna have slash tires.
Do you
but
remember how she was on the
Oh,
podcast?
I fucking love
It's fucking
Kate.
awesome. Come
Kate
back.
is the best.
You both can come back.
Yeah, Jeff can too, I guess.
I
she's
guess.
going to forget my name for the rest of my life now. I feel really
Just as
fucking
a
bad.
joke, she'll be like,
you have two
is your
names to
name
forget, so.
Brenda? But anyway, I think what was really cool in the back room is even though you and I have never been at a meet together, there was a flow between you and
yeah,
I.
dude.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
We just knew what to
Exactly.
do, and we would, and that's what's, and I heard James Vang say this back there too, but it's so true, and I think you kind of noticed this from me, is like, when it's time to go warm up, you can't afford to be nice. Like,
Right.
especially as a coach, when your lifter needs their warm up, they need to start their warm ups.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be Mr. Nice Guy, like, oh, well, just, I'm just going to stand here until someone notices that I'm trying to get in. It's like, no, you have to be assertive. You have to be aggressive. You have to not be afraid to tell people to, like me and you back and forth, hey, I need this, this, and this
Right. Oh,
on the bar.
You
Or-
and I, as soon as it was time to warm up, I thought, we're a team.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, I'll help with. Whatever I need, you'll help
Exactly.
with. And
Exactly.
it was, all right, Cole, you're going to jack up the bar.
Right.
You're going to start putting plates on, but I'm going to go chase down plates, or I'm
Yep.
going to make sure Luke's up next. Or what was really cool too is it was, even though I would say that, Cal and Ben were your athletes, Luke was my athlete, at no point did I stomp on your toes or you
Right.
stomp on mine.
Right, and it's not like I didn't load the bar for Luke because he wasn't my
No,
guy.
no, I was
And
just
that's
saying,
like-
even when we weren't warming up, it wasn't like you were trying to be assertive on Luke and say, "Oh, I'm your fucking coach."
No,
or-
yeah.
you know what
It was
which-
all helpful stuff.
Exactly.
And that's,
And
it's
And you know what else you probably didn't do? You didn't give unsolicited advice to anyone else's athlete.
No.
If you had advice, you would have taken it to a coach and said, hey, by the way, I was watching that, blah, blah, blah. And even then, it's still unsolicited and probably jerky. But the amount of meats, and I said this to Cole in a message yesterday because I ate a lot of sushi, I got a lot of carbs in me, and I got really emotional. But I love watching our crew at these meets because, one, very respectful of the space always, but it's just such a great experience. Like, there's no unsolicited dickery going on.
Right.
Everybody is there for a common good. Even though, yeah, we want to fucking win and we want to take home medals and we want to be the best, we don't do it at the expense of others.
Right.
We have people that show up and cheer everyone. We don't just cheer our athletes, we cheer all athletes.
Right.
If somebody needed something, we would offer help.
yeah.
And that is such an amazing positive vibe. And I've been to meets where you don't get that vibe out of some people. It's just not there. They don't take it seriously enough to understand the importance of that positive energy, or that's just who they are.
assholes.
But
They're
I'll
just
use
assholes.
Binks as an example of how you and I interacted yesterday. So on bench, he was starting to cramp.
Yep.
So what I
You
could
poured salt in his mouth,
right,
didn't you?
yeah.
right, but
Yeah.
what I could have done was walked up to him and been like, "Oh, bitch, all you need is salt and you need some sugar."
Right.
But what I did was, and I don't even know if anyone else was aware, is on the side I was like, "Dude, I think he's cramping because he doesn't have enough salt." And I asked you, I was like, "Was he in the sauna today?" And you were like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Can I give him some salt?" You're like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
I checked with you
it's like
first.
it's kind of a respect.
100%. It was a respect. I wasn't gonna just go up and be like, "Oh, bitch, you need this."
Right.
But once you gave me the green
that's
light,
one thing too, is like from him, he's like obviously he knows you,
right?
But if it was somewhere else, it'd be like, who the fuck is this guy and what does he know?
It's like, would you walk up to another parent's kid and give him a cookie?
Right.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Would you just offer some, like, be like, "Hey kid, you want this?" First of all, you look like a creep.
Right.
Guess what? You do at the powerlifting meet too. When you walk up to another athlete you don't really know. But it's exactly the same thing. You guys, as coaches, you are the parent.
Right.
You are the director, the leader. We are just there to do as we're told.
Right.
You know, and that's something I think that's important as an athlete. If you are trusting this person to be your coach already,
Trust them.
Right.
trust them. They're not
Exactly.
going to put you into a bucket of flames.
Right.
So fuck off with your ego, because guess what? We all get big egos when we're going to lift. Do you know how many times I've said to... said to Cole, "Okay, here's the deal. So if it looks this good on this first one, I mean, you just, you go ahead. You just do whatever you want." And he can tell I'm trying to say, "I really want you to put like a ton of weight on the bar." And he just goes, And, but at the same time, I would never, I mean, I've had it where we've done the wrong attempt, but I would never come back and go, "Fuck you, Cole. What the fuck were you thinking?"
Well,
you
have
trust
to-
that person
exactly.
to be doing what you need.
Well, it's not like I fucking want my lifter to do bad.
Right.
You know? And like, as long as you and your lifter have a good relationship like that, it's just like, hey man, my bad. It maybe
Right.
in hindsight, obviously we would have done something a little differently. And like, it's again, one of those things you just like take note of it and learn from it.
Next time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not as though, and some coaches I'm sure are this way, where they're trying to fuck with other people's athletes or something like that, where even the salt thing, I was like, dude, I'm not trying to,
Right.
But I think what helped the most too was Binks was comfortable because I was there at 7:30.
Yep.
I was there all morning. He knew I wasn't just some asshole.
Yeah.
Where he was even a little comfortable, like, okay, yeah, okay.
Right.
Where I think that's something really huge for coaches to do, is because they weighed in at 7.
Yes.
To get there pretty damn early after their weigh in.
I got there as he pulled up.
Yeah.
And we went in there together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's different from meet to meet and lifter to lifter. Like it's especially important when it's their first meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I went in there with him. I helped him carry his shit in. I told him, I said, okay, that table over there looks like where you're gonna do your gear check. So go over there and get your gear check done. I'm gonna go scout out the scale and see if they got the scale set up. So then right after that, you can go check your weight. So then after he was done, I came back. I'm like, all right, the scale's all ready for you. Let's go see where you're at. And then, you know what I mean? Just being that other person
Especially
there.
because he needed to weigh in before weigh-ins just to make sure. Exactly.
Right.
Where what was nice with Luke is he was way underweight. All of his equipment was, IPF certified. It was all good. It wasn't a problem.
Right. But it still can be overwhelming for that person on there.
For sure.
And even, I even helped Luke out in the morning too, because when he first came in, I was like, hey man, this is just where everything is. And then it's also just nice having a familiar face there.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing, is because I think Ben and I were literally the first fucking people that were there besides the volunteers. And just being able to, this is the comfortability of having someone there with you. And Ben is a super independent guy as it is, so I almost have to tell him that I'm going to do this for you.
Right.
But it's comfortable for him. Sure. And then it just makes everything less, and he has less anxiety about everything just because there's someone there with him. He's not thinking, what about this? What about this? There's someone there he can ask.
Right. So with Luke, I was running late that morning because originally I had told him I'd be there at 7:10 or something like that.
Yeah, you were late. You fucking asshole.
Exactly. So at like 6:20, I knew I was going to be late. So
shout out first of all, hold on. Shout out to Calvin for waking up late.
Oh, fucking A.
What? Calvin woke up late?
He was late.
He didn't
as
set an alarm. He forgot to set an alarm.
He almost missed weigh-ins, he said.
Oh my God.
Well, he was up at like 1, he said, spitting into a cup because he wasn't.
And then he fell back
lean
asleep and woke up at like 6:05 or 6:15 or something.
Something like, he just fucking booked it
on
in.
his own, and he looked at the clock. He was like, shit.
Yep. Got up and just flew in.
So considering that and everything else that he went through that day, I was like,
did great.
Geez, dude. Yeah. You,
but with
everything wanted you to have a shitty day today, Calvin. And
yet
you said,
he had a
fuck
fucking
it.
amazing day.
I'm going to have a good day regardless.
That guy's always got a great mindset, though. Like and then all of a sudden he'll sit down and be like, hey, Brooke, like, don't you just totally love this song? And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
hey, I do.
Yeah, that was a
Like,
good
hey.
shit.
He was a cool guy. But again, so with Luke, I made sure I messaged him right away in the morning, like, dude, I'll be there around 7:30. You know, no big deal. I'll be there when you're there, and we'll hang out all morning, just to make it so it wasn't like, I'm fucking late, dude. I'm sorry.
Right. Or
you
just go freaking no communication at all, and he's wondering about you.
I wanted to make sure he knew as soon as I did, like, I'm not going to be there at 7.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The only time I've ever been really stressed about my time at a meet was Ladies of Iron, because I started horrifically cramping up in my hammies during bench. And like, it was bad to the point that I wasn't able to get it out. And I was out of Gatorade and everything. Like, I blew through all my stuff, right? And Cole goes, we got to, because we had like an hour and a half in between each thing. So he went between bench and deadlift warm up. He ran to the gas station quick to grab me some Gatorade and stuff like that. And that was the only time I've ever been nervous, because I'm so used to knowing that he's going to go, Brooke, you're eating at this time. Brooke, we're warming up at this time. And then I freaked out because thinking deadlifts go so fast, because they do. Deadlifts had already started, and I'm like, ooh, like I started to get a little nervous.
And I wasn't there to tell you that it's going to be fucking fine.
Yeah, everything's fine, right? And here's me in the back room by myself, because again, I don't want to hang with everybody, especially after the disaster that had happened with bench warm up. So I'm all by myself in a little room going, whew. And then someone asked for you, and I'm like, I don't know where he is right now. He's supposed to be coming with some Gatorade. Oh my God. And literally as the sentence ended, he goes, hey. And I'm like, oh my God, he's here. Okay.
Right. I think that's something that other coaches can learn too, is plan everything. So even with Luke, I was like, okay, eat your banana.
Yep.
Okay, make sure you're sipping on Gatorade all day. And when it was time, you know, between squat and bench, I was like, okay, eat a little, but you know, I want to make sure that you don't do it on rice, because I know how it's going to feel, and make sure you eat your orange so it digests better. And
well, and a lot of the stuff too is stuff that they already know.
Exactly.
But it's just because
it keeps them calm.
Yes, because from being in a meet situation, your mind is fucking freaking out 100% of the time. So it just helps having someone there literally telling you what to do.
Exactly.
Because like I'm the type of person where it's like, well, should I do this? I know I should do this, but what if I did it this way? And then, you know what I mean? I'm just freaking freaking out in my head.
Like, how much should I eat? Oh my God. I'm like,
and it's just nice to have,
big deal.
it's nice to have someone there just being like, all right, just do this, this, and this. And it's like, okay, that's all I need to worry about.
Even with like his pre-workout before his deads, I was like, okay, he probably needs a little more sugar. He didn't eat a whole lot. So I'm like, dude, it's going to suck. I need you to mix Gatorade with your pre-workout, because I need you to have a little more sugar.
Yeah.
And again, what's cool with Luke too is, and shout out to him, he's so receptive.
Oh, dude, I was
he's
just gonna.
Such a calm guy, and so what was interesting is I fucked up because I didn't notice the day before, because I kind of did an equipment check for him and I was looking, and maybe he didn't have it in his bag for me to see it, but he had sugar-free gummy bears or something with him, where it's 30 grams of fiber or something like that. And you know, he opened it up in the beginning of his meet and started eating them, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I looked at the bag, I'm like, oh fuck. Those are those high fiber. I'm like, dude, you know what? Not a big deal. We'll just drink a little more Gatorade today, but I can't let you eat that whole bag while you're here. He's like, oh, why? And I'm like, dude, there's a lot of fiber. I don't want it to fuck with you. And
well, and there's no sugar.
Right.
So you're getting the wrong kind of carbs. You're just literally going to load your gut right now.
Yeah. But the Uncrustables apparently was a great call.
Right.
He ended up eating the whole fucking box while we were there.
If you don't eat an entire box at your meet, you didn't go to a meet.
Exactly. It's hilarious.
There's only 4 fucking ones in there anyway.
If I leave a mark on this fucking powerlifting world, it's going to be that Uncrustables at every meet.
What if, would you guys shit your pants
I gotta pee.
if I could get Uncrustables to sponsor this cast?
That would be amazing, and I would wear a shirt.
I gotta pee, man.
Nice, dude. Just take the fucking headphones with you.
How did the fucking headphones get caught in my coat?
Maybe because you zipped it up.
I did. I zipped it into my fucking coat. Oh my God. But one more thing about those Uncrustables. I was giving them a little shit, and then I was like, fuck, I'm going to get a lot of shit because you did go with Uncrustables, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, dude.
It was great.
Uncrustables are the perfect meet day meal, man. They're easy to eat. They're good.
You can gift wrap them for your coach when you show up at his random bench sessions.
Or because you owe him some. Because you said you're going to give him, let him try the honey peanut butter ones. And then you and fucking Neil ate the whole goddamn box and didn't even think about me.
Hashtag Neil Twinsies.
Or maybe you did think about me and said, fuck it anyway.
How about the fact that we offered them to you so many times? You're like,
yeah, I can't eat during a meet even when I'm coaching.
Next time, just take one and put it in your fucking bag.
Jesus Christ. Well, you know, I ended up winning on that anyway because you gave me a whole box of 4. So.
It is true. It is true.
See what happens when you hold out?
I was also, what else was I going to say? Actually, there was something about that I was going to say.
About Uncrustables?
Yeah, that they're just awesome. No, but I also, looking at it from a person who I try not to eat a ton of carbs in general, I props to anyone who can do it, but I love watching what people eat at meets. One of my favorite podcasts, which is no longer, was Guts, Grits, Grind. And it was, they were all Canadian female powerlifters, and they were the bomb. And I loved listening because the one girl, she would literally eat entire, like not one of those little like get at the gas station packets, but 2 entire packages of Oreos throughout her entire meet.
Damn.
Like she would just take them out. And don't get me wrong, It wasn't like she was like some schlump, power lifter, but I love seeing that. And then there's other people who Sour Patch Kids are their thing.
Yeah. Oh, you go to a fucking powerlifting meet anywhere, there's going to be Sour Patch Kids there. And it's funny because we talked about that with Josh, and he pointed it out at the meet. He's like, hey, you weren't fucking lying. There's some Sour Patch Kids right there.
Speaking of Sour Patch, as soon as the meet was over, I went to the gas station and bought some of those watermelon Sour Patch.
Did you?
Did they sit in your stomach though?
Yeah.
Oh God,
but I kept looking at that bag all day. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I could go for some.
man.
Holy shit. Oh, it was so good.
See, I don't know. I can't do like the gummies and stuff. They
I'm
sit
not
like
a
a
fan
rock in
either.
my stomach.
And for me, they give me this aftertaste in the back of my throat that I'm fucking tasting forever, and I don't like that either.
See, now I could, however, probably mainline Oreos. I probably could do something like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Maybe not too many though, because I only get through about 2 Uncrustables at a time, and then I'm like, ooh, we gotta hold on.
Really? I could
Yeah.
fucking crush Uncrustables all day.
You could crush hot dogs too, son of a bitch.
You like that?
No.
I inhaled them suckers,
Oh my
dude.
God.
How many did you eat?
I just ate 2.
Oh, I
it's
thought
not
you
that
ate
bad.
3. Oh shit. No, that's not so bad.
damn. I should have said 3.
I couldn't believe how many people came up to me and was talking to me and giving me shit about my food.
Well, you had this fucking giant...
Tupperware container.
Yeah.
Of rice, spinach, and hamburger.
Yeah, and you...
Oh, Monster Mash.
I was prepared.
And you weigh 130 pounds.
100.
It's like when you watch the little kid. It's like when you watch a 2-year-old holding a giant thing of Utz cheese balls.
No,
like,
it was literally, he could fit inside of this Tupperware thing, and he's holding
wait a
it and
minute, that
eating out of
cooler
it.
you brought, was it only your food?
Yes.
Yeah.
There were 4 energy drinks in there.
Shout
some
out to you because you
orange.
gave me one.
You got it. And then my food, right? Because I was
My
like,
food.
well, my
My
thought was
food.
if I wanted Luke to have all of his food prepared too, because the last thing I wanted to do was let him try out concessions and then get sick. So I was like, you're gonna bring your food, I'll bring my food. We'll have lunch together. It won't be that big
Oh,
of a
so
deal.
fucking cute.
Well, again, it was-
Oh, I'm gonna bring you a picnic little basket next time.
Well, every
We'll have
athlete that
lunch
came up to me,
together.
every athlete that came up to me and gave me shit, I tried to teach him something where I was like, yeah, this is my lunch. I'm gonna have a steak after this and all the shit. They're like, how much do you weigh? I'm like, I weigh less than 170, and I said if I eat any
you
less,
said 135 pounds,
Shut
right?
up. And I said if I eat any less than this, I actually put on body fat because I'm not fed enough. And they're like, oh, okay. So they left. And then other people were like,
While I was over there sucking
Just
down hot dogs and
just
Cheetos.
How many hot dogs? You eat
2.
concession hot dogs?
Yeah, I just had
deep
2.
throating it and all the mustard.
If it makes
and
you
shit.
feel better, Ginny was the bomb, by the way. Shout out to Ginny and
Holy
everyone.
shit, she was
because
awesome.
our food she got the best food ever.
Really?
Oh.
We got hammies.
She was in charge of that, huh?
We got the hammies that were on. It was the good cut ham, and it was on dollar buns from Coburn's.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was Monster energy drinks.
The amount of Monster energy drinks that were on the plate rack was insane.
Right?
Yep.
All of the
It was
loaders had an
literally
energy
like
drink.
and when we realized that she had like 2 or 3 cases of it, we were all like,
So what are you doing after?
Dude, she crushed it. I would like to have her on the podcast.
oh, right?
We should.
We should just to hear about.
Well, she's a competitor as well,
For sure.
and also seeing the other side of the sport because she's
Yes.
a ref, and now she's done her first meet. It'd be an awesome conversation.
exactly, and to know what she learned from it. And I mean,
Well, first of all, that doesn't happen that you have a meet ran that well your first ever meet.
that
Well,
was.
I
it
looked
was
at her and I
so
said,
smooth.
oh my gosh. I said,
She's
kudos
never-
to you. I said, I don't think anything went wrong. And she goes, there were a couple things that were little and I diffused them early on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fact that things happened and none of us had any clue
Yeah.
is such a huge testament. Because most people would let it get to them. They would make it apparent. They would make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
And it would change the vibe. And
Yeah.
the fact that everything start to finish, no matter who it was that was helping, like volunteers who all they were doing is sitting at the door checking people in had as great of an attitude as the people busting their asses on the platform. Like everybody What's the matter?
She probably doesn't know.
What happened?
She gave me a great compliment. I was so happy that she gave
Ginny did?
Yeah, that was so nice of her to give me.
Oh,
a
he
compliment.
did. They did. They gave him a nice compliment.
My energy in the back room was just great.
In the
Or however
morning,
she-
especially.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's
That's
great
awesome.
that you were a great morning person, and it made all the volunteers feel so good. And it's like, that's fucking right. And then I had to look at Cole. I looked at Cole because he was right
Well,
there.
because you were late, you slept in. Of course, you were happier because you got more sleep than the rest of us.
That's exactly right. Anyway, Ginny looked at her, looked at Cole, and was like, "Well, nobody said anything bad about you."
Yeah, she fucking roasted me alive right there.
And I was like,
what?
"Didn't say
'Cause-
anything bad or good, motherfucker." That's right. That's right. She came to talk to me, not you.
No, she was awesome.
Yeah,
I
she was.
gave her a big
Son of a
hug
bitch.
after the meet and told her, you did a good
She
job.
was a
And
rock star.
I know how much work goes into. Well, I don't know firsthand, but a lot of work goes into putting on a meet, and for it to come out that good, especially your first time.
Right. Yeah,
was-
for sure. I couldn't have told that it was her first time.
Well, and think about this too.
So
it's
smooth.
a big responsibility because at the end of the day, you're kind of responsible for how these lifters experience that day.
right.
So the fact that you're able to make it so they all have a good experience, that's a very powerful and demanding job to have, and she fucking knocked it out of the park.
One, talk about picking a perfect venue. Holy hell,
I
that was
loved it.
perfect. It was like having the space of a high school with concessions and everything else. The bathrooms even had showers in them.
Right.
However, it wasn't a high school. It
Right.
was public.
So clean.
It
and
was so clean and so
open.
new.
Mhm.
And
so
it just,
fresh and so clean.
Right.
like, don't get me wrong. I'm
Even
not
the
picky about
bathroom stayed
venue,
really
but
clean.
my goodness, that was just a really great venue.
Right.
she
Yeah, we're
picked.
doing more there for sure.
Right.
We gotta.
And I would love to talk to her about possibly doing other type of competitions there. Maybe so.
Like your bullshit weightlifting. Or
Well,
something?
right. My bullshit. But you made a big comment yesterday that it being in central Minnesota, away from the cities, was nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there are quite a few powerlifters that are in the area, and I'm hoping it made enough money that they can do it again next year. Because that's really what it comes down to: is if enough people competed, that they can do it next
Well,
year.
not only that, but the people that come in the door, it was a packed house.
It was
and every
great.
person that came
It
in that
was
was in the
loud,
audience,
it
it was
was-
It was
right?
beautiful.
and
Part-
whoever
and
picked the
part of that
music
is-
was
And I was gonna say, part of that is kudos to you for keeping
sure.
everyone involved and getting
Yeah.
them hyped up for the lifts, because it fucking does make a difference as a lifter, especially if you're going out for your
Third attempt or whatever.
yeah, a max lift that you've never done before, and it's just like grandma's yawning and
Right.
like
Crickets.
crickets.
Well, they've already sat
And-
through 3 hours of bench. Now,
Yeah,
how do we
yeah.
reignite?
By the way, I am so happy that you're going to be the DJ at my wedding because the music you had playing all day, like in the back room, I'm fucking like,
Dude, we were vibing.
we were
man.
having such a good time in the back room.
Yeah.
just because of you. It was.
well, and
thank you.
it was funny because I put out some things for what do you want for walkout songs? Well, it's USAPL, and we have to remember that as much as we're like fucking right when we're in the gym, we're in a public space. We have grandmas and aunts, and
Very
who knows?
professional.
You have to be professional.
Yeah.
We start. By the way, I have to say this.
Good
I have to
music.
make this official. I was gonna fuck around and see what Warpea would do for the anthem. I was gonna play the Fergie from the basketball game.
Oh man.
And everybody's like, do it. And I'm like, no, it is so disrespectful to laugh at the anthem, so we can't. If we had done like a dry run, I totally would have done it, but there was no dry run, so we played the regular one. But no, you can't play anything with explicit lyrics.
Right.
So like there were actually some lifters who did send me walkout songs, but I could not find an edited version, and I'm not going to play them 10 seconds of it.
Right.
So I had to not play those. But I started thinking, like, I put this playlist together and I started thinking, okay, it's all going to be metal. It's going to be, whatever.
But it
And then I'm like,
wasn't.
wait, it wasn't, because I started to think, this playlist isn't actually for the lifters. What the
No.
hell am I thinking?
Yeah,
This
there was some good
playlist
hip
Right.
hop.
is for,
some
so,
pop music. I mean, it was good music all
Right.
day.
and I'll be doing Twin Cities Open.
Yeah.
And it turns out, you ready for this? I'm going to look like a goddamn spaceship. Joe comes up to me and he goes, are you going to be okay with 2 platforms? And I'm like,
Ooh.
okay. I said,
Oh,
as long as you
yeah.
don't laugh at what I'm going to have to bring in. And he goes, what? And I go, I'm literally going to have 2 to 3 monitors in front of me. I'll have my DJ stuff on one monitor, and I'm going to
Damn.
put both the platforms on the other 2 so that I can follow along.
Right.
Because for the first time, Anna had reached over and she goes, oh my gosh, we just need to log you into Lifting Cast. So instead of always having
Had
to
to
like
look up at the
the
screen.
TVs,
Yeah.
it was right on my
Right.
computer, and boy, does that make a huge difference.
It made a huge difference in the warm up room that we could have that lifting cast. Shout
Isn't
out to
that great?
USAPL for having
so
that.
that's a good point, because I came to appreciate it a lot when I went to a USPA meet and they didn't use lifting cast, And
Do you remember it went out at mine? Like it just quit working.
But for the meet that I'm talking about, I was coaching Ben Hartle, and I fucked up his warm-ups because I wasn't used to because lifting cast is so easy to count and see how many lifters you are out and how much time you have. And this other program they were using was so hard to read and understand. And it made me realize kind of how spoiled we are. And actually what's cool is the guy who created lifting cast is from Minnesota as well.
Really?
So fucking Minnesota is just the best powerlifting state in the entire universe, I guess.
We're just going to say that and make t-shirts that say our state's better at powerlifting than yours.
Right.
USAPLMN.
Have a bar with the Minnesota.
That would actually be a stellar.
No, so get
like
this.
a cutout?
This was a shirt on, I think, the women's meet a couple of years ago where it's land of 10,000 plates.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking sick.
But I mean, lifting cast definitely helped me out as a first-time coach,
it
too.
was awesome. You can have it on your phone and it's updated live.
And it helped. So Luke would just like disappear for a little bit because he'd just be vibing up. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yep.
But I could walk up to him and be like, we have 16 yet. And I'd walk away. Where it just kept him calm, too. Because
Exactly.
you know
you always
exactly
know
where you're at.
Yep.
Well, and then with Lifting Cast, it also does all of our countdowns as well. So, like, for example, if we know we're taking a 10-minute in between, you could come back and look at the platform at any time and know we got 6 minutes before we're starting. It's not, oh, shit, what time did we take our break?
Right.
It was really, really great. And the fact that also with the software, it does the countdown for the 1 minute and all that stuff as well. Because let's be real, like, for example, we had one lifter who pulled out of his third deadlift but didn't tell us. We still have to wait for that minute, but it does it for us. It's just, it makes it so easy. And I know this is not sponsored by Lifting Cast, but damn, it should be because
Hey, that'd be fun.
it has literally made things so easy.
I'd
I
wear a
am
Lifting
really
Cast shirt.
excited.
Fuck yeah.
I am really excited for the meets that are coming up this year.
But so if next year there's another Granite City Open, you need to be the DJ for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
gotta
think I
keep
would ever
coming back.
I don't think I'd ever be able to lift at it because when I look at because I'd really like to do the Ladies of Iron again if that comes up again. And there's always, you have to pick and choose that one meet in April, May, June because they're always so many so close.
Right.
So yeah, I have no problem. I love doing that kind of
Plus,
stuff.
I think Joe kind of wants you to do them all anyway. After Joe's gone, I have a feeling Ken's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And Ken's going to want you to do it all anyway, too.
Oh,
so.
Ken. Ken always makes me think when he looks at me, I'm like, what's happening?
Every time
Do I
I
have a booger
see
on my
him,
face?
every time I see him, he gets like a little bit warmer and like a little bit more like
Right?
because he's got that, hard exterior, like tough guy
Right.
powerlifter. But
Does
every
he
time
side eye you? Because he does me. He'll be like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, he looks at me like,
I
are
love
you
it.
going to try to hug me? Because I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. That's how he looks at me.
Ken's a good shit. I like Ken. He's the owner of the American Strength Gym
Oh, yeah.
in Maplewood. So
Cool.
Well, and he and
was the
Shannon.
guy. He was the guy doing the piss tests for the guys.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, the guy that you look at and go, I'm not going to fuck around with this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried to make a joke with him outside the 2 dressing rooms, and he was just like, I'm like, failed, walk away, back up.
Yeah, he has no mercy. There's no courtesy laugh from fucking Ken. Are you kidding me?
That's hilarious. Especially if he's drug testing you that day.
The worst was
Oh
other
my
people
God.
laughed.
Speaking
Other people
of
laughed.
drug
But
testing, remember
no.
when Calvin opened up his pre-workout and all his label came off and we were giving him
Oh,
shit?
yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
you know what we need to do?
We need to just write steroids
Right.
on the outside of
Right, just on the side.
Yep.
Just fucking, or
just write
not steroids. Just get a Sharpie out. Oh,
Yeah.
dude, we were
does he
on
have a white?
whole
Was
new
it
level.
a white container?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh my God, I was laughing so fucking hard because when they were talking about the rules and they told us about the sniffing salts and things like that, don't do it on the platform because people literally think you're inhaling steroids.
Yeah.
We were like, we need to do this. This pre-workout. Just put steroids and just have them even on a shaker bottle. Steroids, just drinking it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Oh
Like
my
Michael's
God.
secret juice or
You're right. That'd have
yeah.
been fucking hilarious. But no, I mean, first meet, amazing. I have to give you credit and we were saying this off air, but just the aura that you put out when you're at that meet, everybody takes notice. I mean,
Do you think it's my BO or what?
I don't know, but when you were walking through a
Jesus, take the
door,
word.
when you'd walk through a door, people would stop. Like, for me, everybody would, keep passing through or whatever.
Because
But
you're fucking 130 pounds. Man.
With
Yeah.
a giant
They
Tupperware of
just
rice.
step. They just
it's because
step
of your
over
size.
you.
It's because of your size. But
just walk over you.
but just even
No, I'm
when it was
seriously,
time to
thank
grab
you.
a warm-up area or anything like that, it was almost like all the other coaches waited for you to find your warm-up area and then they kind of filled in. You know what I'm saying? And yes, it could have also been that you were there early, but it's like all the other athletes
Or
knew,
that
like, this
he's
guy,
ginormous and could kick your ass.
well, it's not like you were the biggest guy in the room.
Right.
I mean, there were plenty of guys bigger than you. I mean, look at Ben. Anyway, but again, everybody kind of just knew let Cole do his thing.
Yeah.
Let his athletes do his thing. They're probably going to win today. That's right, kind of the
You
vibe
know
that
that's what they
everybody
were
was
thinking
getting.
a little bit, though. I'm not going to lie.
Fuck yeah.
Especially since I wasn't listening.
Well, I'm just glad I almost gave Brooke a heart attack. That was
Oh yeah, we didn't
Dude,
talk
I
about
got a
that
wet
yet.
willy from someone we knew.
Yep.
He literally made me piss my pants.
Yeah, I was trying to be courteous. I thought I was doing it right, but
Courteous
apparently-
by
I'm just-
sneaking up like Gollum from Lord of the Rings behind me
You
while
were
I'm.
in the-
He kind of looks like
you
him,
were
doesn't
in
he?
the middle of an announcement. The last thing I was going to do is in your ear as you're trying to talk. Hey, Brooke.
Most people would walk up and tap you on the shoulder. No, he comes up from underneath and goes, "Hey, Brooke," and I'm like, "Ah!"
Well, I didn't want to be on the mic either, right? So I didn't want to lean over. So I was like, "Hey, Brooke, you know,
And you scared the shit out of
when
her?
you announce Luke's numbers, please don't say it in pounds because he almost pissed himself when he said it was 300. and
What's
whatever
funny too
pounds.
is she totally understands that because she
Yeah.
plugs her ears before
Did
she
you
goes on
notice?
that platform.
Did you notice that I stopped saying his numbers altogether
Yeah,
after that?
exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
she's not even saying it in kilos. All right,
All right, it's
Yeah.
on the
which
board.
which helps. Yeah, for sure.
Well, trust me, because if he knew, like, if I had said, you know, blah, blah, blah kilos and blah, blah, blah pounds, and he knew it from the last lift, I'm not going to tell him how many more kilos it is
Right,
next time because
right.
he's already going to be freaked out. I don't like to know my numbers at all.
Right.
So I totally understood that. But I do want to say a shout out. I was so excited to see her lifting yesterday. Maggie Hall, she is one hell of a strong female.
I was gonna bring her up
And-
too. She's a freaking beast.
Was she there by herself?
Yeah, so she's from.
Frick.
She lives down in Rochester, I believe, and she came up all by herself. She actually, I think she kind of, mentioned something about a pinched nerve, so she was a little bit
Yep.
beat up coming into this meet too. And I mean, fuck, she still managed to win the whole damn thing, so that's pretty impressive.
Dude, she
And again,
is
by
such a
herself.
badass.
Yeah,
What did-
by herself.
I'm not sure who this is.
Well, she goes by Megs 84K on Instagram. She was the strongest female. She took first.
I was not paying attention to the women.
Well,
at
no,
all.
you won't because you were so busy
Yeah,
paying
we
attention
were
to your own
warming up.
flight.
Yeah.
But she had such a great meet and
And she's so positive and just happy.
so damn
like,
kind.
good.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna call her out right now and say, Maggie, if you're listening to this podcast, the next time you come up to a meet, if you don't stick around and come have dinner with us afterwards, we're not talking for like a month. She'll probably actually like that. But for reals, like I loved seeing she's part of that Instagram family that's
Yeah.
super positive and we chat a lot and people will, you know, they like and they comment back and forth. And she's part of that super positive powerlifting on Insta. And again, I was just so excited. There were actually the three women who took the top 3 spots. Holy shit, did they show up to lift? And it was so cool to see.
Yeah.
I will shout out one person that I don't know her name, and I wish I would have introduced myself. She had to have been 70, and she could hit full depth squat. She
Was
was
it
she
was
had-
it Kathleen
I didn't
she
catch
was-
her name.
yeah,
or
I don't know
Suzanne?
either,
I
but
think it was Suzanne.
just
we
even-
just saw her in the warm up
right,
room.
and I was
Gray
like,
hair and had a
fuck,
perfectly
yes.
like perfect little bob haircut
yes,
that like
yep,
never
yep,
moved. And she
yeah.
was, and I made a comment too
She was
that she
so
went out and
sweet,
crushed a lift, like
Yeah.
crushed a third attempt, and she just walked away with this. I'm like, oh my
Right.
god, she's just like, hey, I'm gonna go make dinner now. Like
Right.
she just was so
But
kind, and I'm like,
she's at least 60,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And power.
Watch, she's like 45. You're just an asshole.
no, you know what?
No,
I'm gonna
she's-
look her up right now because I think she deserves it. So you guys keep talking.
But
I'm
for
looking
sure,
her up.
I mean, just even
Looking
watching her squat, I was like, "Oh, good for you!"
Isn't
you know
that
what?
awesome, man?
You can start powerlifting at any age. I
Right.
mean, as long as you're hitting depth, it counts.
Yeah,
You
just, and fuck, it's something, and that's why I enjoy competing so much
Mm-hmm.
because there's something about having something to work towards
Mm-hmm.
that, like, for me, competing is more. It's like if I'm just working to like get stronger, like that's one thing, but if I can't put myself on display or have a deadline, my training kind of suffers a little bit, and that's
Mhm.
why like. For me, like bodybuilding is kind of tough because it's like you're only just going by this image in the mirror or someone
Right.
else looking at you. It's like at least when you have a competition set up, you know that you want to, because you're in front of people, you're putting yourself, you're in a vulnerable position, so you're going to work your ass off so you're as ready and as prepared for that day. So I think someone who's maybe older like that, that's just she probably has no issue going to the gym now because she can get in there and
Right.
she knows she's working for a meet. So.
Right.
Well, and she went. I'm looking at her stuff from yesterday. She went 8 for 9.
That's awesome.
How amazing. The only thing she missed was her bench 2 came back and crushed it on her third.
Oh, good.
Jeez.
Same
Yeah.
attempt, right?
Yeah.
Good for her.
So that's huge. She wound up with a 72.5 squat, a 42.5 bench, and a 107.5 deadlift.
Okay.
And she's masters 2. She's 57.
Wow.
And You know, normally we say
Sorry
we don't
for
talk.
saying you're 60.
No,
Well,
but
you
it's
said
no.
71st.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Here's
sorry.
the funny thing about it, though, is it's really kind of
I'm terrible at age.
when it comes to watching those of us who hit Masters 1, 2, 3, and whatnot. It's hard to
hitting
tell their
Masters
age.
7 soon, right?
Me?
Masters 7 or 8?
Do you call yourself Master 7? Because I'm about ready to hit it. No, but we're not used to seeing anyone over the age of like 30, 35 in
Exactly.
these strength sports. And I think it is like, how badass would it be
Right.
for like, I'm thinking to myself, I would love to be the grandma someday who Timothy's kids go, my grandma is so badass.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
You know? And think
I'd be
about-
so proud of my grandma if she
Right.
went and did a meet. Like
yeah.
that's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Suzanne Kelly was her name. And the poise that she walked on and off that platform with, oh my God.
And in the warm-up room, she was warming up with 3 other people, and it didn't faze her that other people were there, and she was there for
Yeah.
herself, and good
Yeah.
for her. I mean, good for her. And
Yeah.
again, shout out to all of those volunteers yesterday. I mean, there was a guy that literally had a broom in his hand the whole time,
And
just trying to keep
sweeping up
that.
the chalk.
Yeah,
back
just trying to
in.
keep that place clean the whole time.
Yeah.
Fucking shout out to that guy.
Yeah, and
Well,
he's the guy
and-
who yelled at us too.
You know
Was
what's
he?
funny
Was he?
is,
Well, he didn't yell. He was
oh,
just
about not
like,
taking your weights off.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was his job, and that was
Exactly.
a standard that I don't know where it was set before this, but that standard at the meet with help was set at Ladies of Iron with MG and American Strength when they put on that Ladies of Iron, where they had people helping re-rack weights and everything in the back, like. And I know that Ginny was at that meet, and she took an accordance because she finalized her volunteerism after that.
Well, and that's the thing
And
too. Is
huge.
like, I swear, every one of the meets here, they're just trying to one up each other on
Right.
how freaking awesome they are,
Right.
which is an awesome environment to be in.
Right.
Because I mean, like Ken's meet, that Ladies of Iron, he had guys in the back room loading weights for people.
That's awesome.
So I mean, like this, it just gets better and better. So it's something that I'm really excited to be a part of, and that I appreciate being a part of.
Well, and to have the ref who does, like we talked about, that I had never seen at a meet until Ladies of Iron. Like Lois was that for us. She was that kind of greeter out onto the platform.
Yep.
I don't remember ever seeing that at a previous meet, and that's new and that's really cool.
Because that's what they do at national meets. So what we're talking about here is there's another ref or person who stands kind of back behind the platform just to make sure that the next lifter is there and ready to go. And it helps a lot because the lifter can stay behind the banner there if they want to, and then they'll tell them, all right, bar is loaded, you can go ahead, and it's just an added thing
She
that
was
you
cool.
wouldn't think much of, but she would make sure, like, hey, ask if you have a lift or a lift off or bench or not, so then she can signal to the head spotter there, hey, no lift here, so that it just runs smoother for the lifter. And again, it just makes it easier on the lifter. And anything that we can do as coaches or as volunteers or as meet directors that can make it easier on the lifter and just take more out of their hands, it's going to allow them to have a better experience and ultimately perform better on that day. So I commend, again, Ginny and everyone who is there, because and people who are doing that period, because it shows and it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and I had no idea, but it was James Fang's first time running a platform. And he did, at least from what I read, well, I was reading off of his Instagram that he was getting some coaching on how to run that platform from Joe, unless he meant like back in the past, learning eventually from the past, because him running that platform, the way that he was calling out the plates as like, and the lifter wouldn't have even heard it because we all get tunnel vision when we're coming out anyway.
Yeah.
Like as that platform was ready, he was shouting out, okay, guys, we're going to need 2 reds. We're going to need a blah, blah, blah. Like anything that needed to be added. It was for being a first meet, for being a lot of newbies. It was probably one of the fastest run platforms I have ever seen.
Well, we were out the door by
Unbelievable.
1:45, and
you
we started
helped a
at
lot.
9.
You
Right.
helped a lot with your announcements when you would say the next weight is, where you were almost giving the guys on the platform a heads up, like, okay, it's going to be like 5 more kilos. We need to be ready for that. But the last thing I want to say is, for Minnesota meets, if you need a right-hand man, I'll come. That's fucking sweet. I mean, just the way it moved, and in the future, I'm certainly going to be coaching more people.
Isn't
and
it
being at more
fun when
meets
you
and-
experience something like that and it's like, fuck, man, I want to be a part of that more?
Yeah, I just want to be back there, because even some of the lifters I didn't know, I was like, no, go fucking sit down. I'll put your weights on.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
you know, Luke was resting or whatever, I'll fucking put your weights on. Go
Yep.
sit down.
Yep.
And even some of the lifters couldn't believe that I was like,
Right.
fucking, I'll load it or
Yeah.
I'll unload your bar. Just fucking go.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, if you need a right-hand man, I'll be there.
Did I tell you what my next big goal is for helping?
No.
Because I know I could never be a spotter loader. That is so much work, and I know I would hurt myself. I would end up because I'm dumpster
definitely
fire.
would.
I would hurt myself. But I have been actually chatting with Mr. Elliot Feldman. Do you know who Elliot is? He's the USA Powerlifting Executive Committee member, and he is out of PA. And he's the one who does all of the basically play-by-play for all of the YouTube channels.
I know Elliot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I've been chatting with him because I'm like, so how's a girl get in on this whole broadcast thing?
Heck
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
man.
Good
And
for you.
so I asked him, I go, hey, you're going to be at Raw Nationals. Can I sit in with you? And even if I don't get to say a word, that's fine, but just to get to experience it. And that was something I thanked Cole about yesterday too. It was, you know, I wouldn't have had a chance to give a gift of mine to this if I hadn't had such great experiences and I hadn't been brought into USAPL. Because it was Cole who pushed me to go to USAPL. Because in the beginning I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just do both. Maybe I'll just do whenever.
Right.
And through him introducing me in such a great, positive, respectful manner to so many people, and kind of guiding me through it. I mean, that's how I got more involved too. So I love the fact that you caught the bug. Like, now that you have the bug, it's going to be exciting to see you at a lot of events in the future.
Well,
I'm
and
excited.
a little
but don't
extra
bring
help.
that stupid spray can of hairspray
Shut the
again.
fuck
You
up.
brought it yesterday, and that makes
Yes,
me mad.
I did. And I went back on my word. I said I was going to tag you at some point, but I didn't.
Yeah, he looks at me and goes, you want my hairspray? I got my purple hairspray.
Right. Yeah. It's exactly fucking right. Hey, I was having fun too.
I would have
okay?
drove
Did
my
you not
knee
hear what
through
Ginny
your
said
skull.
to me? Did you not hear what Ginny said to
I
me
would've
and
put it
not
on
Cole?
Boomerang.
Obviously, what I was doing was fine and it was working.
I love you.
Uh-huh.
And I love that we were all three there at the same time. I was like, oh, it's like family
Squad's
dinner.
here. Squad is
Squad,
here.
squad. All right.
All right, let's bring this sucker in for landing, huh?
Yeah.
Now that
150 consistent followers, and I do a stupid Jane Fonda workout.
Yep.
That's all.
And I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
That's all you fucking need to know. But it needs to happen in the next 2 weeks because otherwise I start weightlifting and I will not fuck my lifts up.
All right. You know what?
Hashtag
What do we say?
nationals.
And we're out.
Cut.
We're out.
We're out.
Is that what you usually say?
What do we say? I don't know. We
Uh,
still haven't figured this out.
Boom.
How many
Boom.
episodes are we in and we still don't fucking know how to end
We've
one?
done like what, 28 now?
Something like that, yeah.
This is our 26th.
Drink your monster.
Well,
Eat your
official,
candy.
Oh, yeah.
how many
yeah.
podcasts? Yeah.
We're out.
See you later.
Peace.
See you later, alligator. That's lame.
After a while, crocodile. Bye.
Okay, bye.
The Coaches Collaboration Podcast.
What do you mean you haven't subscribed yet? What the hell are you waiting for?
Come on, y'all. The Coaches Collaboration Podcast is brought to you by Salutum Health and Performance. Take your full power potential to a new level. Online at salutumhp.com.